We must really rely on our strength so that we can also be respected in the international community. We should not discuss, negotiate with the poverty mentality as if we are begging. We cannot be a beggar in the international community when we have resources. How can I be a proud Namibian when I travel all over the world and when the statistics are being read, you are told 44.4% of a Namibian young person is unemployed? Would you really want to listen to that? Me, I don't want to. And I believe no one wants to. So those statistics, those data that are available, local and international, must be a motivating factor to each and every Namibian who has the capacity, who has been empowered, who has been put in that position in order to bring others up. It is possible.
In a world where Africa is too often defined by what it lacks, one woman is daring to redefine it by what it has. Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, Namibia's president and a trailblazing voice in African politics, recently made a statement that's gone viral across the continent. Africa is not supposed to be a begging continent. Africa is supposed to be a donor continent. This isn't just a bold quote. It's a revolutionary mindset shift. And in this video, we explore the deeper meaning behind her words and why they matter now more than ever. Before we unpack her message, let's understand who she is. Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah is more than a politician. She's a symbol of resilience. From her years in the liberation struggle to her decades in diplomacy and leadership, she has earned global respect. In 2024, she made history by becoming the first woman to hold the presidency of Namibia. But long before that, she was already shaping African foreign policy, pushing for unity, equality, and dignity on the global stage. Her leadership style is firm but inclusive. She doesn't speak just for Namibia. She speaks for a continent that's tired of being underestimated. So what does it mean to say Africa should be a donor continent? It's a radical rejection of the narrative that Africa is helpless, always in need of foreign aid or intervention. Africa is one of the richest continents on Earth in terms of natural resources: gold, oil, diamonds, cobalt, lithium, and fertile land. But for decades, it's been portrayed as a continent of poverty and dependence. Dr. Nandi-Ndaitwah is challenging that narrative. She's saying, we're not poor. We've been positioned as poor, and it's time to reclaim the narrative. Being a donor continent doesn't just mean giving money. It means exporting innovation, leadership, ideas, and value. At the core of her speech is a rejection of the poverty mentality, a mindset that accepts struggle as a default, that believes Africans must always look outside for solutions. This mentality was seeded during colonialism, reinforced through foreign aid, and institutionalized through dependency on international partners. But a new generation of African leaders, like Dr. Nandi-Ndaitwah, is flipping the script. They're saying that we don't need saving, and we need platforms. We don't need sympathy, we need fairness. This message isn't about pride, it's about power. The power to shift how Africans see themselves and how the world sees Africa. So how do we move from mindset to reality? Dr. Nandi-Ndaitwah's statement is a call to action. And here are a few steps that make her vision possible. Resource ownership. African nations must control and process their own resources. No more exporting raw materials and importing finished goods. Invest in youth and innovation. With over 60% of the population under 25, Africa has the youngest and most dynamic population on Earth. Invest in education, tech, and entrepreneurship. Regional unity and trade. The African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, has the potential to unlock a $3.4 trillion market. It's time to stop competing and start collaborating. Leadership with vision. Leaders like Dr. Nandi-Ndaitwah show that bold, honest leadership is possible. We need more leaders who speak truth to power and act on it. This isn't just a viral quote, it's a rallying cry. The world is shifting, Africa's population is growing, its influence is rising, its youth are building apps, launching startups, winning awards and leading movements. But for Africa to truly rise, the mentality must rise first. We must believe that we are not just enough, we are more than enough. We must reject pity and embrace purpose. And we must amplify voices like Dr. Nandi-Ndaitwah's, voices that speak with clarity, courage, and conviction. So the next time someone tells you Africa is poor, remind them, we are not poor, we are powerful, and we're not here to beg, we're here to lead.
From the liberation struggle to nationhood, we have always proven that unity and determination can turn impossibility into progress. We faced, that's history, we faced the strongest army in the continent at the time. Why can't we face this threat of poverty, unemployment, and hunger in our country and to overcome? The faces I'm seeing, you can do that. Just pick it up. I want to lead a nation that rejects business as usual. And it's you who can help me to achieve. But I strongly believe if all of us as a nation, we take Vision 2030 as now being finalized by NDP 6, as part and parcel of our planning, we might achieve what we thought we could not achieve because of so many challenges that we have faced over the years during the period of 2030. To create 500,000 jobs over the next 5 years. Now 7 months have gone after the 5 years, and I want us to make an assessment as to how many we have created. Through the National Youth Fund, where we have so far supported the 42 projects, the plan is they are going to create 135 jobs. But there are some other initiatives, both in the private sector, that might have also added 1 or 2 jobs. Because job creation should not be solely a responsibility of the government. The government's responsibility is to create an environment in which business can grow and hire. This includes removing barriers, cutting red tapes, and ensuring that enterprises thrive. And that is why, in my address to the nation, which is called the Maiden Address to the Nation, I called on the Namibian people to submit to the government which policies, which laws you think are hindrance to our economic development. I hope you have responded, because now as a government, we are seriously looking into your submission, as we would really want, as we are getting to the next year of the second year of our administration, we must have addressed those challenges. And I'm going to repeat these priority areas at every opportunity I get. And I'm doing it with a purpose, because I want to implant it in the minds of each and every Namibian. I don't want you to forget this. Whether you are in the public, whether you are in the private sector, I want this to be in your mind, that as a nation, That is what we want to achieve.
Wow, how can I proud to be an African while the rest of the world are referring Africa as a begging continent? How can I proud to be an African while the rest of the world referring Africa as a diseases continent, a continent of hunger, a continent of conflict? So how can I come out and be proud while people are starving into poverty? Those are not my words, brothers and sisters. Those are words of Madam President, Her Excellency Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, the President of Namibia. You heard she spoken very good things, encouraging and motivating the young people in Namibia, in SADC region, and in the entire continent of Africa to take their responsibilities. She said, if we achieved to face some powerful nations during apartheid, during colonialism, and defeated them, why not this poverty? Why not this unemployment? What we lack is unity and determination. And if we can unite for the purpose and having determination, we can defeat poverty, we can defeat diseases, we can defeat hunger, and Africa can be respected, and we can go out and be proud that we are Africans. But all these things needs our unity and determination. You know, it doesn't make sense that for more than 50 or 60 years after independence, I'm talking about since Ghana, the first African countries attained independence, we are more than 60 years. Till today, we have people who are dying hunger. We are still having conflict. We are still starving into diseases. If you go to Democratic Republic of Congo, you find Ebola, you find mpox and other diseases. Why Africa? Why not in Europe? Why not in China? Why Africa? We need to ask ourselves. We are lacking unity and determination. If we can come together, unite, Africa can become a donor continent. But today, Africa is being termed as a begging continent because we are not united. But if you listen, all African leaders are talking about unity, coming together. My question is, when will these political leaders say, from now onward, this continent, we are going to be united, or we are united? I given option. Of course, those are just my suggestions. That if we cannot unite as a single country, maybe having one leader, why don't we starting slowly? Maybe starting with one army. Maybe one army to be difficult. Why not starting with a single currency? Let us unite, starting with a single currency, because we are talking about Africa Continental Free Trade Area, intra-African trade. Which currency are we going to use? We are still relying on dollar, US dollar. If we are going to into Africa Continental Free Trade Area, why not saying we are now starting with a single currency for the entire continent of Africa? And then from there we can move on other area. For instance, single army. It is possible. Because, you know, sometimes I wonder when leaders are saying that they have sent peacekeeping mission in Congo, in Cape Delgado, in northern Mozambique, and sometimes in Central Africa. So I don't know why African leaders can mobilize their soldiers, men in uniform and women in uniform to bring peace. Why don't they say, let us prepare a standby army for the entire continent? Why don't we do like that? Because we don't have a political will. Those who are in power, they don't have political will. And that's why the seat is it's okay for maybe UN to send peacekeeping. And sometimes, this peacekeeping mission, maybe from UN, is multi-billion industry. Yes, they help us, they keep, they bring peace. Of course, I didn't see the place where UN peacekeepers has brought peace in this continent, because they have been there in Democratic Republic of Congo. Till today, Congo is not at peace. They have been there in Somalia. Till today, there's no stability in Somalia. They have been there since then in Sahel, in Mali, and in Libya, but we didn't see peace in those areas. So they are there to take a lot of money, and they spend a lot of money because this is just a business. And some we think they're there to bring peace, but some of them are there to destabilize, because destabilization is multi-billion industry. So as Africans, if we want to move forward and to be respected, let us come together. And that's why even when I provided my opinions on the issue of Africa to have a permanent seat in the UN Security Council, I said, yes, we need a permanent seat in the UN Security Council, but not this time, because I don't see that we are serious. Because if today maybe the world will sit down and say, okay, Africa, we are going to give you maybe one seat for UN Security Council, which country will lead? If we are talking about African Union, we know African Union is being sponsored and funded by the Western NGOs and countries. So if we cannot fund our own organization and being funded by others, what do you think? If this organization will be given opportunity to speak on behalf of Africans, will it speak on behalf of us, or they will speak on behalf of those who are funding them or funding it? And that's why we are saying we are not prepared. We are not prepared. What we lack is a unity of purpose and determination. We don't know what we want. If you look at the Chinese, they know what they want. If you look at the Europeans, they know what they want. The Americans, they know what they want. Russians, they know what they want. If you ask Africans, what do you want? Nothing. Yes, we want development. How? How can we develop while we are allowing our resources to be taken away? How can we develop while we think in our mind we have a notion of thinking that maybe investors must be Europeans, must be Chinese. Why we are not creating rich people here in the continent of Africa? Why it's others? Why we depend on others for everything? So we don't know what we want as Africans. We don't support each other. If you go back into the history, you understand that our founding fathers supported each other. If you read the history, you find that, for instance, freedom fighters in southern part of the continent stayed in Tanzania at that time under Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere. The same to Kenneth Kaunda. Some stayed in Zambia, some stayed in Angola. You can see in some countries being bombed by apartheid regime of South Africa. And they carry the burden because they have determination. They see each other as brothers and sisters. But today, as I speak to you now, some of our brothers and sisters in South Africa, young people, are searching and finding individuals who came to South Africa without proper papers by saying that these are illegal foreigners. While we know that there's no foreigner in the continent of Africa, how can African become a foreigner in the continent of Africa? Those who told us to be divided, they move free from one place to another. In Europe, America today is a united. So we have something we lack as Africans. So I'm sharing this for you, brothers and sisters, to understand the reality that we need to come together to unite for the purpose. If you can unite for the purpose, come together, and having determination, we can defeat poverty, we can defeat diseases, we can defeat hunger, and Africa can be respected. And this is not for only leaders, this is even for followers. We citizens, we need to play our part. Sometimes we think politicians can do everything, and that's why sometimes politicians can do anything, because Africans, we have been taught and designed to think that politicians can solve challenges, but it's we Africans who are responsible to solve these challenges, collaborating with our leaders. So family, brothers and sisters, if you have something to share with us, please do so through the comment section, because we are here to find the best solution for our challenges.
If you found this video inspiring, like, share, and subscribe to Make Africa Great, where African excellence is always front and center.
Thank you, Africa, Mama Africa. Oh, yeah. You make African great. Thank you, Africa. Thank you, Africa.